This is Star Wars Episode... I knew I forgot something. Alright, evidently, the Force is lacking in my DualShock analog controller. Alright, there we go. This is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, for the PlayStation 2. And, I don't know, call me crazy, but I think we all know how this one ends. This is the video game version of the 2005 film, which brought the Star Wars prequel trilogy to a fittingly mediocre conclusion. Of course, at the time, people were hopeful that Episode 3 would be better than the first two, which is kinda like hoping to get a tan from a nuclear apocalypse, but the point is, people were jazzed to see Episode 3. And in a shrewd exhibition of business acumen, the folks at LucasArts released the game 10 days before the movie. Now, why would they do that? Well, because the game includes more than 12 minutes of actual footage from the film. And as a result, Star Wars fanatics bought this game faster than a pod racer on Tatooine.
The General's command ship is dead ahead.
It's too bad the game between that footage is even duller than the movie. Revenge of the Sith, the video game, is a very simple beat-em-up which loosely follows the story of the film. You control the Jedi duo of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi through 17 levels spanning locations from the movie. And for virtually the entire game, you just run around slicing up droids with a lightsaber. I know it sounds awesome, but trust me, it isn't. The thing is that the gameplay has very little depth, and what depth it has is debatable at best. In fact, at the beginning of the game, it actually instructs you to just experiment with combinations of the square and triangle buttons to try new attacks. You know, nothing specific or anything, just push the two attack buttons however you want, and hey, we'll see what happens. The combat feels really arbitrary and just totally void of any subtlety. And what all this really means is that Revenge of the Sith is sort of just a button masher. It's a shame too, because with a bit more variety and depth, this could have been a solid little movie tie-in. The very idea of running through Star Wars locations and slicing up droids is inherently awesome, and there's something just as appealing about leveling up a Jedi. Really, it wouldn't have taken much to flesh out those concepts and turn them into something at least worth playing. Unfortunately, this game is not. It's duller than a lightsaber with a low battery, and because the combat is so weak, the game's versus and cooperative multiplayer modes do very little to charge things up. And where the hell is Natalie Portman's character? I mean, come on, you put a character model of her in there, and boom, you just sold 1 million more copies, not to mention earned an enthusiastic recommendation from Classic Game Room Undertow, which is invariably pro-Natalie. Of course, if you're shopping for an aspiring young Jedi who wants to simply hammer some buttons and dice up some droids, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, isn't a bad choice at all. It may have very little to offer beyond that, but if a repetitive and linear beat-em-up is good enough for you, hey, may the Force be with you.
Surrender while you can. Don't force me to kill you.
You must still face the wrath of Darth